So Sinners is a period horror film about these two brothers who live in 1930s Mississippi during the Jim Crow era. They've been away for 7 years, traveling the world, making money, and they've had some success. And they return to their hometown in order to open up a juke joint for their community, and they're trying to invest back into their community now that they've had success. That then attracts the attention of vampires who are trying to crash that party, and events unfold from there. So what did we think of Sinners?
Overall, I will say that this film is looking like it's going to be the best film of 2025. And I'm very surprised. I wasn't expecting it. I honestly wasn't expecting it. I'm going to go watch it again this week. In terms of like my first viewing experience, I'll be honest with you, I was mesmerized. The concept of freedom and the way that, it was portrayed, as well as Black culture, African culture, and the way, it and like the way that it just revolutionized, and the way that it evolutionized throughout time, and the way that it was just, it was showed and conveyed in 2 hours in a film. It was amazing. I'll be honest with you. Now, of course, there were problems, but overall, that for me was the best vampire film that I've ever seen. Just from, a first time experience, first time viewing it, the movie was amazing.
Yeah, for me, I think I equally loved it as much as you did. I feel like the first 40 minutes to an hour, whilst we're getting familiar with all the characters, the brothers, the different people in the town that they've moved back to. So we're getting familiar with their stories, how the brothers' notoriety, is spread around the town, and how they're kind of like feared, revered, respected by some. The different dealings, the way that they really distinguished the two brothers as well. They kind of made it very clear that this one is this particular way, and the other brother had his own life, had his own experiences, had his own way of of maneuvering in this town. I feel like all of that was perfect. All of that was amazing. And then of course we then get to the vampire side of things, and the horror elements of it. And I feel like that's where the movie was probably a little bit weaker in terms of the horror aspect of it. I don't think it was as scary, or the horror elements wasn't as strong in this. And I do feel like the action as well, once we sort of get to the vampire action in this, wasn't as compelling as the movie like this really deserved, because I feel like everything surrounding it was perfect. I feel like there was a lot of stellar performances in this movie as well. I really enjoyed so many of the characters in this particular movie. Of course, the music was great in this as well. And again, there was like a lot of themes, a lot of sort of messaging, a lot of things that you can interpret in many different ways depending on sort of your experiences. And of course, we'll delve into that a little bit more. And I kind of do wish that I did watch it for a second time, just to try and pick up on some of the things that I did miss. I just felt like there was a lot of culture and a lot of love put into the cultural aspects of this movie, and I really feel like they really respected. And you can see as well, because they had a lot of consultants come in for this movie. So they had not just like a twin consultant from Michael B. Jordan to help differentiate the twins, but they had like a hoodoo consultant for the character that had that sort of practiced in the movie. And I can't remember which other ones that they had, but I know that there was like a list. But you can kind of see that they were making sure that they were getting things right in this movie. The things that they were implementing, they were trying to get it right in this movie. So for me, amazing. By far, easily the best movie I've seen this year. It's going to take some beating to beat this movie.
I think I agree that this is probably the best movie of the year so far. It has been a weak first 4 months in this year, but this is definitely going to be up there by the end of the year, I think. Overall, it's just like a very well-made movie. It looks gorgeous. You can see how much attention went into every detail, right from the accents to the music. So I think it is a really compelling story, and it gives a really strong kind of view into what that time and place was like. I think the acting's great. I think the characters are great. There are a few things I think you need to be aware before you go into this, is that people are saying a lot of things that are not quite accurate about this movie. One of them is that it's not a musical. It's a movie in which music is important, and there are music scenes, but it's not a musical in the way you think. It's also not very much a classical vampire movie, in the sense that it does not follow a lot of the tropes. It evokes some of the lore, and some of that it does better than others. But it's not like, it takes a while before the vampires show up. and it's not really about vampires. I think there's a metaphor going on here. After I've been thinking about this for a day, I'm still not entirely sure I figured out the metaphor. And for once, I'm going to reserve judgment and say it might be that I'm just not getting it. That's I think more likely than not in this case, and hopefully that that falls into place as I think more about this movie. But the vampires serve a very specific purpose in a metaphor, and they don't serve the same function as they normally do in vampire movies. And they use different pieces of vampire lore to kind of support that metaphor, and for the most part, that works really well. It's also sold as a horror movie, and it's not all that scary, like in the way a normal horror movie is. The vampires are creepy and threatening and intimidating, but the scariness comes more from what the vampires represent and how they fit into the larger story, as opposed to like being scary. So overall, I think it's an excellent movie. It's definitely, like, even if I ended up not liking one or two little details, it's very clear that this was deliberate. This was exactly the movie Ryan Coogler wanted to make, and he's very good at what he does. And this is a proper movie.
This is a wonderful movie, man. This was such a great experience. Like, honestly, I fell in love with the story, fell in love with the characters, fell in love with the world as well. But I do feel like the horror elements were maybe a little bit understated. There was like so many great moments, so many good laughs, so many genuine laughs as well. Like, I don't often laugh out loud. I'm like quite that was like amusing or whatever like that. But no, there was actually like points in this where I was actually like laughing out loud as well. So yeah, hit all the boxes for me. This is very much a 9 out of 10 for me.
I had a great time with this film, and it's definitely looking like the best film of 2025 so far. The symbolism, the messaging, and obviously it's definitely, aroused a lot of conversation. Overall, I think, like I said, I had a great time. This film is definitely a classic. It will go down as a classic in my book. And I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I think this is a great movie. Just on a filmmaking level, it's pretty great. It just pretty much lands all of the notes. I've got a few smaller reservations in just exactly how the story is actually told, but overall, this is just heads and shoulders above everything else that's come out this year. So it's a 5 out of 6.